Today I am doing my October wrap-up. October ended on Monday with Halloween. I did not party this Halloween. I don't think I partied last Halloween. Not on Halloween specifically, at least. I watched spooky movies on Halloween and gave out candy to kids. I did get a lot of reading done in October. I did not realize exactly how much reading I got done. The first book that I finished in October I actually talked about in my last month's wrap-up, and it is Replica by Lauren Oliver. I have a full review up, which I did with Nicole from Wonderland Madness. I will link that down below if you want to check that out. Replica was really good. It tells us two stories. Lyra's story, she is living in this facility and she is a replica as far as we know. This is her side of the tale. And then there's Gemma's story, and Gemma lives on the outside of the facility, but she still has connections to it, and something happens and these two girls end up meeting up. This was just a really fun adventure of what happens, and I'm really excited for the next one. It kind of makes me want to go back and give Delirium a second try, but I'm not 100% sure since I have all of these that I have to read. But I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I finished I don't actually have a physical copy of, and that is Where Am I Now by Mara Wilson. This is the story by, yes, the Matilda girl. This tells her story of growing up, but it's not just about being a famous child star, and she really goes in depth with her life, and I found out things about her I had no idea. It was a really interesting read. I highly suggest checking it out if you are a fan of hers. I gave it 5 stars. And definitely check out the audiobook because she reads it herself, which is always a great choice. The next book that I finished was Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I have been wanting to read this for the past 3 years. I always save it for October because it's supposed to be really spooky, and the author was nice enough to send me a signed copy. There. So I'm really glad that I finally got to it. I really enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as I intended to. It wasn't exactly what I expected. I only gave it 3 stars, but I still recommend it if you enjoy apocalyptic psychological thrillers. The next book that I read is actually a book of poetry, and it is Quarter Life Poetry, Poems for the Young, Broke, and Hangry by Samantha Jane Thies. This is a book of little kind of rhyming poems with illustrations that kind of represent what it's like to be 25 or in your mid-20s. Being 25, I kind of really connected with this. It just kind of sprung out at me at work one day. I was cleaning up and it was just there and I had to pick it up. And I've actually started following the Instagram and it is perfection. You should check it out. I'll leave a link down below. I gave this 5 stars. The next book that I read is Gemena by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This was a fantastic read. I'm going to be doing a full review video on this next week, so keep an eye out for that. Needless to say, I loved this and I gave it 5 stars. And the final book that I finished this month was another audiobook, but I actually own a physical copy of it, and it is Buffering, A Unshared Tales of a Life Fully Loaded by Hannah Hart. I wanted to listen to this one because it was read by Hannah, but as soon as the book got into work, it was just so beautiful. I had to pick up a hard copy, and I'm glad I did because I ended up completely in love with this book. It's so raw and beautifully written. Like, I didn't exactly expect the book to be written as well as it is, and I think that Hannah is just a natural storyteller. That's what I really enjoyed about this book. But not just that, but the fact that she was completely honest with her audience. She starts the book off with a trigger warning talking about kind of saying this is what's going to be involved in the book. And it's a lot of heavy stuff, so it's kind of like warning you. It's like, holy shit, okay, like what is she going to be telling us here? And then by the end of her journey, because this really is a journey and it goes back and forth between different times and different stories, but it's a journey of kind of, I guess, Hannah's relationship with her mother's illness, which she introduces to us in the book. And by the end of the journey, she ends the book off by acknowledging her privilege as a white, educated, famous person, and uses that kind of as a call to action, saying if it was this hard for her to get the help she needed for herself and for her mother, then just imagine how hard it must be for people who don't have this privilege. So I really enjoyed how the book came full circle and acknowledged these things. It was just a really well-rounded read, and I highly recommend this to anyone who's a fan of Hannah's or anyone who enjoys reading memoirs or biographies. It was really well done, and I gave it 5 stars. So these are all the books that I read in October. I think I had a fantastic month. Technically, there should be a play on here as well, since I read something for school, but I'm not really going to include that. You don't want to hear about my Shakespeare course. I read As You Like It, if you were wondering. But let me know down below, have you read any of these books? What did you think? What did you read in October? If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and possibly subscribe. I will see you next Friday. Bye!